ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्याधिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nithyanandam. I welcome all the participants and viewers to this segment where we are going to learn more and more interesting things, more and more significant contributions of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in reviving Sanatana Hindu Dharma. So I welcome all the participants and the viewers who have joined with us in Kailasa's digital platforms. Welcome one and all. And today I'm going to have a very, very interactive session. With a lot of participation from your side. I'm requesting participation from your side, where you can really be open and say, okay, this is what I want more clarity on, this is what I want more understanding on. I'm happy to stop the presentation and we can have a discussion and we can further progress this. Okay, so with that as the introduction, I also would like to share with all the viewers that the Paramashivoham Season 2 participants are having an amazing time, and yesterday all of us had beautiful darshan of Swamiji manifesting as the Gangadhara Murti, and such a powerful cognition Swamiji gave us all to manifest the powers, and so many participants experienced wounds and lessons. So now today we will be having one more Bhava Samadhi darshan of Swamiji, and before we get ready for the Bhava Samadhi darshan, this segment is going to focus on the contributions of the Kailasa nation in reviving Sanatana Hindu Dharma, right? So let's get ready for the session, and I request all the participants, whoever is here, I request all of you to kindly come to the Facebook page, Facebook event page. That Facebook event page is projected. If you go to HDH Nithyananda Paramashivam page, Swamiji's page, you will find the event, Paramashivoham event. So please go to that event today and you can start posting your questions, your feedback, what you would like to do. Everything you can start posting there. And I'll be answering all your questions and all your feedback, and you can have more interaction from that platform. Right? So with this, let us get ready for the session today. Yes. Right. So, United States of Kailasa. Now, Kailasa is called as the United States of Kailasa. Why and how the Kailasa has evolved, and what is the need for a Hindu nation. These are the things which we are going to learn today. And I request everybody, whoever is part of the session, Paramashivoham session, everybody can start voicing, right? You can start voicing your views. You can start voicing your understandings of how and why we need the Hindu nation, right? So now, firstly, we always introduce Kailasa as the revival of ancient enlightened civilization. Why do we call so? Why do we call Kailasa is nothing but the revival of ancient enlightened civilization? May I have some answers? So I'm going to read out the answers from the Facebook page. So requesting all the participants and the viewers to start posting your comments. Why do we call Kailasa as the revival of ancient enlightened civilization nation? So what does it really mean by ancient enlightened civilization nation? May I have some answers? So let's keep this entire presentation as an interactive one. So you can post your questions. We can have a discussion about each and every line. So we are going deeper into this and we build the right Hindu identity, right? So why do we call Kailasa as the ancient enlightened civilizational nation? Can we have some answers? So requesting all the participants, Dr. Murali Ayya, please, Robert Ramaya, all of you can start posting your understandings of why we call Kailasa as the revival of ancient enlightened civilization nation. Paramashivoham, all of you can start posting your understandings. Right, Masara Spring. So Masara Spring is saying that powerful cognitions that give me self-confidence. Okay. So do you want to expand on why we call Kailasa as the revival of ancient enlightened civilizational nation? Do you want to share that? Right. So I'm going to, while we're waiting for all the viewers to share, I'm going to start off the discussion. See, Hindu civilization existed as the 56 desas, right? 56 desas. And what is the sole aim or the sole context or the anchor that held all this 56 desas? It is nothing but living enlightenment. This was the only focus of the entire civilization of all the 56 desas, holding one card, that living enlightenment. That is why every framework of these Hindu civilizational nations, whether it is the educational policies, whether it is economic policies, whether it is food policies, whether it is security, whether it is living, the quality lifestyle, everything is only focused on the living enlightenment, including the social structure that all of them were holding together. Everything is towards this living enlightenment. So when we say this ancient enlightened civilizational nation is nothing but the civilizational nation that used to exist as 56 desas, the core thread which was holding this whole civilization nation is living enlightenment, which Paramashiva has given through 100 million source scriptures. He has given this entire manual on how to live this enlightened lifestyle. And all these 56 desas were only following that and upholding this principle of living enlightenment. That is why even till today, Sanatana Hindu Dharma is one of the most contributing religions in the world. Even after undergoing 2000 plus years of persecution, even till today, Hindus are the most contributing segments of the society in all the countries, right? That is because the backbone of Hinduism is living enlightenment. And the 56 desas that used to exist, the whole core of the 56 desas is nothing but providing that living enlightenment to the humanity, right? So as a service of that, they had this health policies, they had this educational policies, they had this social structure. Everything is only to facilitate the living enlightenment. So the primordial force which was holding all these enlightened structure of this 56 desas is nothing but the living enlightenment principle given by Paramashivoham. So therefore, Kailasa is reviving this revival of ancient enlightened civilizations, where in Kailasa, whether it is religious policies, whether it is economic policies, whether it is food policies, what you call, name it, everything will be aligned to the only principle of living enlightenment. Right? So that is why it is called as a revival of enlightened civilization nation. How many of you are able to understand this? And if you have further thoughts on this, if you feel that it can be further expanded in this way, I request you all to post that in the event page. Right. So we have Brahmagyana sharing that Kailasa's government structure and jurisprudence is based on Vedas and Agamas. The nation's social structure is founded on living enlightenment. That's right. Yes, exactly. Kailasa nation's social structure is founded on living enlightenment. You're right. Masara Spring is sharing that Kailasa is rooted in the fundamental principle of Advaita or oneness, the ideas that all beings can live in peace and harmony, and that all human beings are equal and divine and can reach their highest potential It is dedicated in the preservation, restoration, and revival of enlightened culture and civilization based on authentic Hinduism. It's so beautifully put, Ma. Thank you so much. Meenakshi Ma is sharing that Kailasa is the revival of ancient enlightened civilization due to the nation having an avatar as the leader, and citizens are working towards living enlightenment. Yes, that's absolutely right. And Mahansa is sharing that Kailasa is where Shiva resides. Yes. So in our case, Paramashiva has descended and he is the head of the state of the United States of Kailasa. He is leading the whole nation with the same vision that Paramashiva carried for the humanity. Right. So now we are clear with the first statement, which is Kailasa is the revival of the ancient enlightened civilization nation. Now, second one, why it is called as a seed bank of Hinduism. Right? Why it is called seed bank of Hinduism? And maybe I think this part we've already touched a bit, that all the policies, whether it is in terms of social structure, economic policies, education policies, you name it, every single aspect of lifestyle, the Hindu policies, right, Hindu way of living, which is only focused on living enlightenment, Kailasa is the seed bank of that. Right? So now, non-violent religious sovereign nation. Okay, so this is one more very important aspect which I would like to discuss with all of you. Why it is so important for a nation to be run by the religious sovereign order, right? May I have your thoughts, please? All the participants and viewers, you can start sharing your thoughts. Why do we need the nation to be run by non-violent religious sovereign order? Yes, so we have some interesting thoughts. So Virupaksha is sharing that everything is done by Paramashiva, everything that happens to us, we created it. But most of the time, unconsciously, and having forgotten that we are Paramashiva, we often sabotage ourselves. So we need Kailasa. That's great. Thank you so much. And I request all the participants and viewers to start interacting and discussing. Let us start thinking about why do we need the nation to be run by a religious sovereign order, non-violent religious sovereign order. So, Dr. Murali, I think I really would like to hear from you. And same way, all the participants, requesting everybody to start interacting. Let us discuss why do we feel that we need a non-violent religious sovereign order to lead this First Nation of Hindus. Right. So I'd like to share with all of you. See, for example, in the world that we are in today, there are more than 100 plus countries which have declared that Christianity is their official religion. Yes. And same way, there are many countries who have declared that Buddhism is their main religion. Same way, there are so many countries who have declared that Islam is their main religion. Right. But only Christianity has got their First Nation, right? So this First Nation is run by the religious sovereign order. Same way for Hindus, we do not have the First Nation which is run by the religious sovereign order, which is going to protect the needs of the Hindu community all around the world. Please understand, the 56 desas that we were talking before, it was led by gurus. Gurus were the constitutional head of all the 56 desas. It was never the kings. Kings were only the executive positions. They held the executive positions. The entire constitutional head was gurus, right? So the 56 desas existed in this very same framework where the religious sovereign order, they used to head the whole country, right? Now you may ask, why does the religious sovereign order should head the country? That is because they are the ones, like, the QC, they actually quality control in a sense. Every single policy that is adopted in the kingdom, is it as per Agamas or not? Is it as per what Paramashiva has ordained or not? They ensure that all the policies that are in place, all the steps that the king is going to take or the nation is progressing towards, everything aligned to the only goal of living enlightenment or not? Right? So the entire constitutional authority was vested in the Guru's hands, which is religious enlightened sovereign order, right? And the executional authority was in the hands of the king and the ministers and so forth, right? So when we want to revive the Kailasa, all the 56 Hindu desas are how the same framework that these Hindu desas held, which is nothing but the enlightened religious sovereign order holding the constitutional authority. So every single aspect in the kingdom is run as per the guidelines given by Paramashiva. That is the ultimate aim of this, right? So I would like to hear from all of you. What do you all feel? When a religious sovereign order is leading the nation, then you can always feel it is protected, it's non-violent, because they hold the values of Paramashiva as the supreme, right? That is exactly what Swamiji is doing in Kailasa, and when Swamiji is governing Kailasa for the last 30 years, always every single decision that Swamiji has made, he always ensures that is it as per Agama or not. Whether you have to spend $1 or you have to spend $1 million, every single economic policy decision, every single social decisions, every single spiritual decisions that Swamiji has made in reviving this Kailasa for the last 30 years, everything is always checked whether it is aligned as per what Paramashiva has told of it. Right? That is why all the citizens of Kailasa, all of us are flourishing, all of us are feeling empowered, all of us are having so much of gratitude to who Swamiji is and what Swamiji has given us. Because every single decision that Swamiji has made in reviving and running this nation for 30 years is only coming to the space of, is it aligned as per Vedas and Agamas? Is it exactly what Paramashiva has given us? How many of you agree to this? How many of you are resonating with this and agreeing to this? Right, so we have some more comments. Brahmagana saying that when a civilization is run by a non-violent religious sovereign order, cosmic will prevail. This means harming others in any way is a cosmic crime. This will be followed by all the citizens. This will be an example of the whole world that peace and friendliness are possible. Absolutely. When the nation is run by the religious enlightened sovereign order, peace and friendliness, Advaita and the bliss will be the smell of this entire nation, right? Because it is run by the enlightened consciousness. And moreover, Swamiji has established the Hindu parliaments, all the 5 sabhas, in which he says that he is bringing the people from who carries the DNA of Devas and Devatas, right? So this level of highly evolved conscious beings are going to run the Kailasa. And moreover, Swamiji is the incarnation of Paramashiva himself, who is guiding the entire nation. Last 30 years, Kailasa nation is run by the single principle that every single decision that Swamiji has made, he only checks if it is aligned as per our Vedas and Agamas. That's it. So this is exactly how the Hindu desas used to exist, right? This is exactly how the Hindu desas used to exist, where the Gurus held the constitutional authority. The entire authority was vested under the Guru's wing, where he ensures that the kingdom is run as per the principles laid by Paramashiva. Right? So I'd like to share, Swastika is sharing that it brings about peaceful coexistence. We become powerful as individuals and as a nation. That's right. And Devika Rani is sharing that we need Kailasa because again and again we are reminded that we are consciousness. Ahimsa is the basis of life. We are constantly protected by truth, Shastras. So blessed to be part of Kailasa. Exactly. See, can you imagine citizens of any country feeling extremely happy the way the country is running? Hardly you can find any such country, because most of us, even to have a conversation in a train or in a bus, if you meet somebody, we always crib about the policies that's being laid and how it is very difficult to live in this current day scenario. Whether you are in a third world country or in the first world country, wherever you are, you always have something to complain about and something to worry about, because people are in general not happy, right? Because that is not what they've signed up for, but they ended up living in that same society. You pay taxes, you work for the nation, you work for your family, and you in turn work for the nation, but at the same time you are not getting what you want, right? But Kailasa is the only nation, you can just see as soon as we start talking about it, how many of you are feeling so patriotic about it? Because the way Swamiji has run Kailasa for last 30 years, it brings that intense patriotism in us, where we feel that yes, this is our pride. Ahimsa and bliss is what Swamiji has taught us. We are experiencing this powerfulness and we are being empowered by all the teachings of Swamiji. This is the only country where every single citizen not only feeling satisfied, we are feeling empowered. We are feeling so much of gratitude. There is so much of pride of who we are, right? The right Hindu identity that Swamiji has given us. How many of us are so proud about it? All the living and practicing Hindus out there, Swamiji is the one who gave us the right Hindu narrative. He is the one who gave us, he is the one who empowered us with the right knowledge of who we are. So we are the only citizens in the world who are feeling so empowered and grateful. That is mainly because the whole country is run by the enlightened consciousness, enlightened religious sovereign order. Right? So therefore, we are not a competition for any nation out there. We are only a complement to all the nations. You may have Hindus in India, you may have Hindus in Nepal, you may have Hindus in Thailand, you may have Hindus in US and everywhere else in the world. Right? We are not competition for any of those nations. We are only going to act as a complement for each and every nation, because we are the seed bank of all the nations. Right? When Kailasa is entering into a diplomatic relations with several nations out there, so it is nothing but sharing these Hindu policies, right? So let's say as an organization, if we are going to share and inspire people, we may inspire probably thousands of people, right? Whether it is Anudhan, whether it is education, right? As an organization, how many people you think we can inspire? Probably thousands of people, right? We may be able to say, okay, these are the services, and if you do this, it will do good to you. But what Swamiji is doing is entering into diplomatic relations with several nations out there, right? Through this diplomatic bilateral relations, what we are achieving actually, we are actually targeting the Hindu voice to be adapted in those nations. We are actually telling that just follow Hinduism, just follow the principles given by Paramashiva. Your whole community is going to flourish. So you are going to inspire millions of people, right? By this framework of Nation, Swamiji is actually inspiring millions of people and guiding them all to the superconscious breakthrough, right? So therefore, when Kailasa is run by enlightened civilization nation, that is run by the sovereign religious order, that is the best thing that can happen to the world. So I'm just going to check more comments. How many of you are able to understand this? If you're able to understand this, then you can post your comments in the group. Yes. So Shanti Ravishankar is saying, Kailasa only can unconditionally, knowledgeably and selflessly serve humanity. Yes, that's right. See, really I'm saying how patriotic all of us are. The moment we start talking about Swamiji and Kailasa, no matter where we are, what we are doing, we just drop everything and start talking about how Kailasa is the only solution for the humanity. That's because the whole country is run by the enlightened consciousness. Last 30 years, every single decision, whether it is economic decision, whether it is spiritual decision, everything that Swamiji has taken to run this Kailasa, everything is coming from that enlightened consciousness. Whether it is as per Agamas and Vedas, as what Paramashiva has ordained. Right? So, great. So, just checking, yes. And Masara Spring is sharing that it is not, if not, it is run by a non-violent religious sovereign nation. The country will be run by people with limited consciousness. It can become corrupt, run by greedy, warlike, with a sense of lack of enlightened sense of abundance. That's exactly what has happened to the world today. The whole world was run by this enlightened consciousness. That is why the 56 Vedas served the whole world with such abundance. Literally, we used to be like 25% of the entire GDP, right? We used to contribute so much. But moment that enlightened consciousness, when we started deteriorating from that space, right, that is when so much of corruption, so much of actions because of fear and greed, everything is happening today. And we have Meera Rajanatnam sharing that there is no country for Hindus existed so far till Kailasa happened. Revival of it is a necessity. We are fortunate to have Supreme Leader as the living embodiment of Paramashiva. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing this. Right. So now let's go to the next policy, which I would like to share with all of you. Right. Now, what are the core principles of Kailasa? What is the mission and the vision that Kailasa is there for? Okay. So this is what we're going to discuss next. Two core policies, which is nothing but Ahimsa Paramo Dharma, and non-violence is the ultimate virtue. Next one is every being has right to be treated as Paramashiva. Right? These are the core two principles on which the Kailasa nation exists. Right? So in today's world, sharing the application, practical application of Hindu sciences, whatever Hinduism has got to contribute, sharing it in a practical, demonstrable way in all its totality is what Kailasa is doing, and why we call Kailasa as a nation. Okay, there is another one thing. How many of you have encountered this question from your friends and family? Is there something called Kailasa? And where is Kailasa? How many of you have been encountered this question? And do you think that were you able to explain it in a clear way? So because now we are going to share with all of you how you can factually describe why we are a nation, why we are a legitimate nation, and what are the different bodies who have recognized us as a nation. So that is what we're going to discuss in the next 15 minutes. So requesting all of you to first answer this question. How many of you have encountered this question? Where is Kailasa? And is there something really called Kailasa? Have you encountered this question from your friends and families? Please share it in the group. How many of you have encountered this question? Where is Kailasa? And do you know where is Kailasa? And is there something called Kailasa that exists? How many of you have encountered this question from your friends and families? As a curiosity. Right. So now I'm going to share some very interesting things to all of you. See, actually, there exist 1,500 communities in the world, and these communities call themselves as nation. Okay. So there are such indigenous 1,500 communities out there in the world, but they call themselves as nation, but they are not recognized. Right. But Kailasa is a recognized nation. And how do we say it as a recognized nation? Because it satisfies 4 criteria as per the Montevideo Convention. Okay, so now what is the 4 criteria? Number 1, as per the Montevideo Convention, they have laid out 4 criteria. If a community is able to satisfy all these 4 criteria, then they qualify as a recognized nation. Right? So now what is the 4 criteria? Number 1, it must have a sovereign land. Right? Kailasa has got sovereign land in more than one place. That is why now we have expanded from sovereign state of Kailasa to United States of Kailasa. Right? So we have sovereign land in more than a place, more than one place. So that is the first criteria. Second criteria is it should have a permanent population. Yes, Kailasa has got citizens around globally around the world. Permanent population we have, and third criteria is it should have a proper governance. Right? So we all know that Swamiji is running the Kailasa based on the Dharma Shastras and Manudharma Shastra, right? So it has a proper governance where it has 17 ministries and with 5 Hindu parliaments and with a proper currency. So with Reserve Bank, with Hindu universities and more. So it has a proper governance. That is the third criteria. Then fourth one is ability to enter into diplomatic relationships with the other nations, right? So this is one of the most important criteria, and Swamiji has, has entered into diplomatic relations with more than 36 countries, right? So, and in fact, even we are engaging with more than 75 countries now as we speak. So because we have fulfilled all the 4 criteria, which is having sovereign land in more than one place, having a permanent population, having a stable government, and ability to enter into diplomatic relationships with more than 36 countries as we speak. So because we have fulfilled all these criteria, we are recognized as a Hindu nation, right? Kailasa is recognized as a nation because we fulfilled all the 4 criteria as per the Montevideo Convention. How many of you are able to understand this? You can post that in the group if you're able to understand this, all the 4 points. Yes, Meera Rajratnam is asking, saying that yes, a lot of people have asked me. So you can now tell them, you can actually now tell them why Kailasa is a nation and who has recognized Kailasa and how Kailasa fulfills the criteria as a nation, right? It is so important for us to build the right inner image, right inner identity of who we are and why we follow Swamiji and why we belong to Kailasa nation. All these questions, we must have the right answers. Only then we can build our right inner identity. Right, I'm just waiting for few more comments. If everybody has finished, then we can move to the next point. Right. So Jnana Lakshmi is sharing that enriching to keep living enlightenment science alive is a necessity for humanity. And this is a luck for everybody because Hinduism is based on the principle of absolute non-violence, which is ahimsa. Kailasa is recognized as a nation by UN and is present to represent women and go on protecting them and empowering them. It is absolutely amazing the way that Swamiji has done all those years. I am honored and blessed to serve this mission and nation. That's amazing, Jnana Lakshmi. Right. So next is Kailasa is the holy see of Hinduism, and it is run by the main principles that we just saw, which is ahimsa and treating each other as Paramashiva. That is number 1. And the political legitimacy of the sovereign. Swamiji is the sovereign of all the 3 Hindu kingdoms, which is Surangi Samrajyam and Madurayadinam and the Swargopramadinam, right? And Swamiji is revived the 21 Hindu desas and ancient Hindu kingdoms. And Swamiji holds the political legitimacy as a sovereign for all these 3 Hindu kingdoms. Right. So next one is Kailasa's supreme aim, right, is to serve the religious and the spiritual needs of 2 billion Hindus and whole of the humanity. Now, this is a very important point where throughout the presentation, we've been talking about how living enlightenment is the only purpose of life and how Swamiji has devised all the policies, whether it is religious, whether it is spiritual, whether it is educational, whether it is health policies, every single policy that Kailasa has been working through, everything is devised through the single aim of living enlightenment. Now I can explain that to all of you. For example, now we're doing Anadan in several places, right? We're doing Anadan every single day in several hundred places all over the world. And Swamiji has given the context of this Anadan as Aushadha Anadan. Now, what is Aushadha Anadan? Aushadha Anadan means consuming the food that makes you to live the principles of living enlightenment. Right? So, what are the food material or ingredients that you can consume that is going to make you more and more move towards the living enlightenment? So, Swamiji has ensured even that Annadan that you give has that context of living enlightenment. Right? The same way the health policies, right? Whether it is, how do we treat ourselves for COVID? Right? If somebody is having a COVID infection or preventing the COVID infection, what are the things that they need to be taking to prevent to improve and boost their immunity, right? So all the different aushadhas and herbs that Swamiji has suggested, everything not only empowers the humanity to increase their immunity, but keeps them aligned to the goal of living enlightenment. So really serving the religious and the spiritual needs of 2 billion Hindus. All the temples that Swamiji is guiding, every single temple or each and every ritual, it is aligned as per Vedas and Agamas. It is aligned in a way that any person who comes in contact with the deities that have been energized by Swamiji, they literally have the third eye awakening. See, that is the vision that Swamiji has got for all the Kailasa temples around the world. In a regular temple, people come and they pray to Paramashiva or to the divine for some boons and blessings that they want. But in Kailasa's temple, when anybody enters the temple, when they go back as a third eye awakened individual. Because each and every ritual that is being done in the Kailasa temple, it is aligned as per Vedas and Agamas. And here the Archavatara is a living manifestation of the deity, because Swamiji himself has done the Pranapratishtha for all of the deities. And the people who are performing the pujas, right? All the archakas and whoever is performing the pujas, they are all third eye awakened beings. So any person who is actually coming in and taking the blessings of deities in Kailasa's temple, they leave the temple as a third eye awakened being. Not a person who feels fulfilled, okay, maybe someday my prayers will get heard. No, you are a conscious manifestation, right? So that is the context that Swamiji holds for every single visitor who comes to the Kailasa temple. So in this way, in every way, Swamiji has visioned the Kailasa as a supreme aim is only to serve the religious and the spiritual needs of 2 billion Hindus around the world. How many of you are able to understand this? Right? The serving the religious and the spiritual needs of the entire 2 billion Hindus around the world, that is the supreme aim of Kailasa. Right. Ma Shanti Ravi Shankar. Now if you can start posting your understandings of why Kailasa serves the religious and the spiritual needs of the entire 2 billion Hindus out there. Right. Now let's move to the next point, which is the Hindu infrastructure that Swamiji has created. Right. So overall, in last 30 years, the Supreme Court of Hinduism, Swamiji has created about more than 16,000 Hindu infrastructures. When I say Hindu infrastructures, it is Paduka Mandirs, it is spiritual embassies, Hindu universities, micronations, food banks, goshalas, cow shelters, libraries, and many more. So like this, more than So, Ma Virupaksha, surely I'll reduce the frequency. I'll definitely speak slow to ensure that the translation is happening. I'll ensure that. Ma. Thank you so much for reminding. Yes. So the 16,000 Hindu infrastructure that Swamiji has created over the last 30 years will take all of this. Sorry, completing with all of you. Yes. So the 16,000 Hindu infrastructures that Swamiji has created, whether it is in terms of Hindu micronations, Hindu universities, Hindu spiritual embassies, Paduka mandirs, healing centers, food banks, goshalas, which is cow shelters, Hindu libraries, every single Hindu infrastructure that Swamiji has created, everything is focused on this one goal of living enlightenment. Right? This is exactly how Paramashiva has envisioned the whole humanity. That is exactly what Swamiji revived in last 30 years. All these Hindu infrastructures, it is not just having one building which is saying that, okay, I have 100,000 books. No. Every library that Swamiji has constructed, it is not just housing some 100,000 books. The context of housing the books, where books are the deities, books are treated equivalent to deities, where you do puja to books, right? How you handle the books, how you hold the books. Literally, you can see the pictures of Swamiji when he's reading a palm leaf inscription. You can see how he holds the palm leaf. Literally, you can feel it, right? That is exactly the context of how Swamiji has empowered and constructed all these Hindu libraries around the world. It is not just housing some books. Housing books, it can happen in any place around the world. There are 100,000 libraries around the world. What is so special about Kailasa's library? The only speciality, only difference that the Kailasa's library and other libraries is because Swamiji holds the whole context of living enlightenment. How the books should be treated. How we have the Grantha Samadhi, right? Where all these scriptures, all the palm leaves are held together. They are worshipped as Grantha Samadhis. This is the context that Swamiji holds for a Hindu library. Same way for a Hindu university, Hindu food bank. Food bank I just mentioned. It is not about serving free food to 100,000 people. There are so many organizations out there who's doing the seva, right? Doing the free food service. But what is so different, what is so important and unique about Kailasa's Analaya? It is the living enlightenment. Aushadha Anadhan, where Swamiji is reminding us again and again, serving the religious and spiritual needs of all the 2 billion Hindus out there. And I'm telling you all, it is so important point because we Hindus have become so dumped in poverty consciousness. We do not have spiritual strength at all. After facing 2000 years of persecution, we don't even want to call ourselves as Hindu. We don't want to associate ourselves with any Hindu symbols. If somebody wears a bindi or vibhuti out there in India, you are actually you are not a fashionable person anymore, right? You cannot celebrate any Hindu festivals because it is causing pollution. This is how the Hindus are treated, and this is how Hindus perceive themselves in a way that they don't even want to talk about the issues that Hindus are facing, right? So we are in such poverty consciousness. We are so scared. We don't even have any spiritual strength. So serving the Hindus around the world, all the 2 billion Hindus around the world, with the religious and spiritual needs. Swamiji is the only person who is serving the religious and spiritual needs of all the Hindus around the world. Before Swamiji, I am sure none of us have the right Hindu identity. We don't even know what is Hinduism. We don't even feel Hinduism is need for the whole world. We never even had the right understanding about Hinduism. It is Swamiji who has given this understanding to all of us. And he has not given just like, okay, take a book, this is why you need to be a Hindu. No, he has inspired all of us, right from each and every person who serves in Kailasa's temple. They all come in Hindu attire, right? Now we have so many discussion panels that is happening out there in the world where Hindus who celebrate Diwali, they don't even wear the Hindu symbols. But here we have in Kailasa where you may be born in a different community, different background, but you, as a practicing Hindu, how proud you are to wear a jata, to have jatas, how proud you are to have vibhuti, to have the Tirumular Kavedam. That is because Swamiji has served the need, religious and spiritual need. He is the only person who is serving the religious and spiritual need of all the Hindus around the world. Right? So how many of you really agree to this? Whether it is wearing white sari when you come to Kailasa's temple or Kailasa's events, whether it is in terms of adorning jatas, having bindi, having the Tirumula Kavedam, doing puja, right? So in every level, right? That is because Swamiji is serving this religious and spiritual need. There is a deep need that all the Hindus out there, because for the last 2000 years of Hindu persecution, we have been subjected to double genocide. We don't even know that we have been persecuted. That is the plight of Hindus today, right? And Swamiji is the only person who is actually serving the religious and spiritual needs of all the Hindus. How many of you agree to this? Right, there are so many comments. I'm going to go through all of these. Yes. Jayanti Kanagaratnam is saying that Kailasa serves the religious and spiritual needs of the whole humanity by liberating the lost souls through offering of Maheshwara Puja. Yes, it's a very important contribution. Thank you so much for pointing that out, Ma. Day in and day out, since 2004 till today, every single month, twice a month, Maheshwara Puja happens. There is not a single month which has been broken. Every single month, both on a full moon day and on the new moon day, all the Kailasas around the world, Swamiji has inspired to offer the Maheshwara Puja. Next, we have Saroj Outlaw saying that Kailasa embraces all the Hindu sampradayas. Also, it recognizes Omkar family, such as Sikhism, Buddhism, and Jainism. It also respects all the religion and faiths that uphold peaceful existence for the whole humanity. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, literally, when Swamiji is reviving the ancient enlightened Hindu civilization, that means all the 100,000 sampradayas Swamiji is reviving. Right? And Swamiji is the unifying force of all these sampradayas. If you see how people from different sampradayas have coronated unanimously that Swamiji is the incarnation, and unanimously they have handed over these Hindu kingdoms, Hindu samrajyas for Swamiji to lead. That's because they all recognize that Swamiji is the single unifying force for whole of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Right? Yes, Ma Shanti Ravishankar is sharing that, yes, Ma, I agree. Only Swamiji can support the whole world and the humanity. Yes. Right. So now let's go to the next one, which is global solutions for COVID-19 and multilateralism. Okay. So this is again one more very interesting thing which we can discuss. Disaster management. If you just take this disaster management, how Kailasa has handled the disasters over the past, right? Over the last 30 years, Kailasa has spent about $650 million towards this disaster management. And Kailasa's approach towards disaster management has been recognized in United Nations. And in fact, it has been given the recognition as one of the best policies to handle the disaster management, especially in terms of COVID-19. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, how Swamiji approached the whole COVID, how he prepared the citizens ahead of time and the right psychological support, right? Mental health is one of the most most important thing which all the world nations has missed. if you see, there are so many reports that is coming up now, which is talking about what are their learnings of COVID disaster. One common thing which every nation identifies is they completely missed out on mental health. Right? They did not foresee that mental health is something that they need to be taken care of. When all the nations are struggling here and there, looking after how to curtail the numbers of COVID infections, it is actually the mental health that is the one which actually affected the citizens the most, right? Which, in respect to how Swamiji has held the Kailasa nation, is something phenomenal. He prepared the citizens. He gave enough spiritual solutions, spiritual strategies, enough programs. So many educational programs were conducted during that COVID time to prepare and protect and constantly support the citizens and empower them with the right understanding and how they can hold themselves high during these times of COVID-19. And Swamiji's approach towards this, towards handling of COVID-19 through multilateralism is recognized as the best policies in out there with zero infections and zero death rates. I'm just going to go through more comments. Right. So, what is our takeaway today? Right. So we all just want to summarize whatever learnings were last half an hour to 45 minutes. What is our real takeaway today? We all agree that Kailasa nation is the only solution for the humanity. Yes, number one. And Kailasa citizens, you and me, we are the most blissful citizens. We don't Yes, sorry, I'm just looking into more and more comments from different digital platforms. Yes, so if we just look into that takeaway, right, what is the main takeaway that we have today? Firstly, all of us unanimously agree that Swamiji is the unifying force of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and Swamiji is the global leader who is actually bringing all the world problems to be resolved using Hindu solutions. Correct? Number one. Number two, Kailasa is the only solution for entire humanity. It is not just for Hindus. The whole humanity is looking for solution, and Kailasa is the only nation that's going to provide solution for all. Number two. Number three, all the citizens of Kailasa are extremely blissful, right? And we are feeling so empowered. We are feeling so happy with the way how Swamiji is holding all of us over the last 30 years by being part of Kailasa. Number three. Number four. Now, Kailasa is recognized by United Nations. Kailasa is recognized by United States of America. Kailasa has entered into bilateral relations with United States of America and many, many more nations, right? And every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we are seeing highlights of Kailasa representing in global platforms. Like as we speak, 2 days before, we have 25 women ambassadors of Kailasa representing the plight of Hindu women who got persecuted over the last 2000 years, and also the Kailasa women who got persecuted. So the voice of all these Hindus is being represented in United Nations once again. So we are seeing all of this, right? On one hand, how Swamiji has taken the whole Kailasa nation to a different level altogether, where the world is looking forward to Kailasa for solutions, right? Now, What is that we are going to do when we say that Kailasa can be opened? The Maha Kailasa can be opened if all of us come together towards this seed infrastructure, seed funding for Kailasa. We need $100 million for this Kailasa, for this heaven to open to one and all. Right? We all agree that it is heaven. Unanimously, we agree that it is heaven. Now, what is it that is required to open this heaven? It only needs yaga. It only needs sacrifice from all of us, deciding that this is the best cause. Swamiji is doing the best for the whole of the humanity. And this is the time when all of us must come together. Please understand, what Swamiji has achieved in last 5 years is something unimaginable. How he started this whole vision and how he manifested it, how many meetings, how many people, how many statesmen, how many countries Swamiji has to explain, make them understand the need of the Hindu nation and acknowledge, get the recognitions. And now we are in the stage where we are sharing all these great achievements of Kailasa. Please understand, every single thing has happened from extreme hard work and Tyaga of Swamiji. And now we are so proudly saying that yes, Kailasa is the only solution for the humanity. Yes, that's right. But for that to happen, for making all the human beings to experience this heaven, it needs support from you and me. When I say support, it's not that you're giving away something, but rather whatever you are giving, it is an investment for the future generations. Whatever you are putting today as the seed fund, it is not for you and me, it is for future generations to experience living enlightenment. This is the best seva, this is the best service that you can do ever in your life, because this is the only way we can protect the next generation. If there is no Kailasa, there is no Hinduism. If there is no Kailasa, there is no Hinduism, there is no second generation. Everybody is suffering in all kinds of diseases, habits, lifestyle issues, and many more. We all recognize the problems in one hand. We also know that Kailasa is the only solution. The only bridging gap is you deciding to come out of this criminal negligence. I'm sorry to say, why I meant criminal negligence is because we are all waiting for somebody else to jump in. We feel that somebody else is going to come and support this 100 million cause. Yes, that's what we are doing, right? We are really feeling that somebody else will do it. I have this problem at the moment. When things get sorted out, I'll be able to pitch in. We are only thinking about how I can pitch in. We are not thinking that this is part of my responsibility and duty. I am now showered with fruits of Hinduism today. I am a blissful being today. I am a chosen one today. I need to share what I have with the world. Only when we decide to take that responsibility and come out of this criminal negligence, that is when we Hindus will understand the need for this nation. Swamiji is making the nation happen. Swamiji is going to work day in and day out. He is going to do it all. But we Hindus need to come out of this criminally negligent mentality, because please understand, this is a moment where all the disciples, all of us must come together and say, I am doing this. Really, I am going to do this. If this is there for any other religion for that matter, we don't even need to talk this much. Everybody will just jump in and do it. But because we have been persecuted so long, we don't even understand that this is my pride moment. I have to support this. This is my duty. This is my responsibility to support this. We don't even feel that way. We feel that somebody else is going to do the job. We really feel that somebody else is going to do the job. Right? Right now I have this commitment, and this commitment is more important than my nation's needs. That is how we think. That is how we've been trained to think because of the persecution that we all faced. And I say persecution is not just this decade of persecution, but the DNA that we carry, which has been persecuted for more than 2000 years. Each of your ancestors has been persecuted. Because of the persecuted DNA that we all carry, we feel so criminally negligent. When there is a need for the nation to happen, why we are all feeling so indifferent? Why we are all feeling that somebody else is going to do this? It is really you and me who needs to pitch in. It is you and me who needs to do the Tyaga. If you say, I do not have anything to offer, it is your responsibility to take this message to 10 other people and make them to offer. If you say, yes, I have, but I have some other commitments, it is your responsibility to drop that commitment and prioritize the nation's need. It is our due responsibility to come together for this nation's cause. $100 million is nothing because Swamiji has contributed immensely to the world. So many millions and millions of people are empowered. If all of us come together and come out of this criminally negligent mentality and just say, yes, I am going to prioritize Kailasa as my first goal. I'm going to drop all my insecurities. I'm just going to say, yes, this is what I need to do. And this is what I'm going to do for my nation. If we all just decide that, that's enough. We can simply make the Kailasa open in next 48 hours. 48 hours is nothing literally. Because $100 million is really nothing because Swamiji has empowered so many millions of people. It just needs hearts, that's all. We just need to come out of our criminally negligent mentality thinking that somebody else is going to do. Nobody will do. It is you and me who is going to do it. More and more we delay, we are delaying the possibility of human beings who can be enlightened. Right? So I take this moment and I really like all the participants, viewers, please think about it. This is our right. This is our proud moment. It is our responsibility to make the Kailasa open for one and all. Let us all come together. Whatever is your obstacle, please drop it. It is not worth it. Let us all decide to put all our wealth, whether it is your property, whether it is your stocks, whether it is your retirement funds, whatever you have, please understand, everything just offer it at the feet of Paramashiva. Whatever you consider as I and mine, let us offer it at Paramashiva's feet for this greatest cause of opening the Mahakailasa to one and all. With Swamiji's grace and blessings, it will simply happen. It just needs you and me to do the Tyaga. You and me to decide that I am going to prioritize my nation's need over all my other commitments. If you just make that one decision, we can all have Kailasa today. So I request all the participants to come together and let us really make this happen, right? Today we've been talking to Singapore Sanghas. I mean, one by one, we're all reaching out to many Sanghas. It all needs that, few people coming together and saying, yes, I'm going to do the Sarvapari Tyaga. Whatever I have, I'm going to offer it at Swamiji's feet, right? Moment you declare, it will just spread like a fire. It will simply spread like a fire. The whole movement will happen. We will all have Swamiji and we'll all be having Swamiji giving the darshans and beautiful satsangs. We'll all be listening. And not only us, the whole of the humanity can experience Kailasa and all the great gifts that Swamiji wants to give to the world through Kailasa. So I request to kindly register in sksjp.org/contribute. If you feel that this presentation had an impact in how you're thinking, please post that in the comments. And your decision, how you're going to be part of the Kailasa nation, please post that also in the comment. Are you ready to do the Tyaga? Are you ready to take the first step towards you declaring that I am coming out of this criminally negligent mentality? I'm really going to be a powerful Hindu with the right Hindu identity. I'm going to make the nation happen. Are you ready to declare that? You can post that in the event page. Right. So with this, I would like to conclude this segment and we will be getting ready to receive the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shortly. So I thank all the viewers whoever has joined with me for from the Kailasa's digital platforms. Thank you all so much for being here and joining with me. And we have many, many more exciting announcements. I once again would like to remind all of you all, let us all declare freedom from this criminally negligent attitude. Let us all come together and support Kailasa. It is your right, it is your pride to be part of Hindu nation. So with this note, would like to conclude today's session with the Purna Mantra, and all the Paramashivoham participants, please stay tuned. We are going to be having the darshan shortly. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukar Padamastu. Om Nithyanandam